Morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Lots of topics to discuss on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Make sure to smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching today, please also consider subscribing to the channel. Bottom right hand corner. It's completely free to do so, live every single morning. And we're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. So let's try and hit 40,000 by the end of December. So if this is your first time watching, go and subscribe. Doesn't cost any money. Get involved on the channel. Right. On this morning's show, we are going to be reacting to a story that apparently Manchester United are trying to sign a new goalkeeper. We'll also be talking a bit about Christian Eriksen, who apparently could well be leaving the club in January. And we'll also, of course, be talking about the Manchester derby. We've got a massive game today, 4:30 UK time kickoff. And the lineup for this game has apparently been leaked already. And we'll be talking about that. We'll be discussing how this is happening, how Manchester United get around it, and all the rest of it. But before we get into all of that, as always, I try and like to make my shows interactive. And this morning, I have a question for you. The question today is a simple one. What are your score predictions for the game against Manchester City? Let me know in the comment section below. We'll start the show off by talking about that game, but pause the video, get in the comments now. Let me know, what are your score predictions for Manchester City versus Manchester United in the Premier League today? Let me know your thoughts. Right, so in relation to this game, I can't really think of a better time to play Manchester City. You know, obviously they're in terrible form. I think they've won 2 in the last 10, something like that. They're doing absolutely awfully at the moment. Pep Guardiola looks like an absolute shadow of the man he was before. Let's have a look at their last few games. So they lost to Juventus in the week. They drew with Crystal Palace. Obviously lost to Liverpool, which isn't, that's not much of a shock, really. Liverpool are on fire at the moment. They lost 4-0 to Tottenham at home a few weeks ago. Lost to Brighton. Lost to Sporting Lisbon. Lost to Bournemouth. Lost to Tottenham again. They're in a really, really bad run of form. But let's be fair here. This is still Manchester City, and they still have an incredible squad, an incredible manager. So it's never going to be easy. And I know people will be like, oh, we have to win today. They're on terrible form. But, I don't think football really works like that. A team of Manchester City's quality, who won the treble very recently, they could easily just switch it back on, and this might be the game that kickstarts their season, and they might go and win every game now until the end of the season and still win the league. That does happen in football. So, we have to be respectful here. We have to be respectful. As much as I don't want to be, as much as I want to sit here and say we're going to beat them 7-0, I think the likelihood of that is quite small. But in relation to my score prediction, I think it's going to be a draw, to be honest. I think there's going to be goals for both teams. I'm going to go 2-2, which, would I be happy with that? Normal times, yeah, of course. A draw against Manchester City away is not a bad result. But, at the moment, the Premier League table looks bleak. Quite a few games went against us yesterday by way of results. Obviously, Newcastle won. A couple of other teams, Aston Villa, I think, won yesterday. So, at the moment, we're in 13th place on 19 points. Even if we win today, we would still... Who did Tottenham play today? Let me just double check who Tottenham play. Let's have a look. Premier League fixtures... Tottenham play Southampton away. You'd expect them to beat Southampton away, wouldn't you? But you never know with Tottenham. But the point I'm making here is, right, even if everything goes our way today, even if we beat Man City and Tottenham lose to Southampton, we would only move up to 12th. So the best case scenario after today's game is that we're 12th. And that's if we beat Man City and Tottenham lose to Southampton. If we beat Man City and Tottenham beat Southampton, we'll still be 13th. If we lose to Man City today, we could go as low as 14th if West Ham win their game. So it doesn't make particularly good reading. And, although obviously we want to win, that's the most important thing. Even if we do win, we're still in a bad position, but obviously a win's a win. But in all fairness, there is quite a small gap between 5th place and where we are. So we're on 19 points. If we were to win today, we would jump up to 22 points, and Man City are on 27 points. So we'd only be 5 points behind top 5. And remember, 5th place in the Premier League should get Champions League football this season. So when you look at it like that, it's not awful. And in all fairness, if you look at it from a more level-headed perspective, if we don't win today, I think top 4 is pretty much impossible unless we go on a crazy run. Because if we don't win today, we would be 9 points away from top 4. If Man City were to beat us, we'd be 11 points away from top 4. if Man City beat us today, and yeah, they'd be on 30 points then, and we would be on 19 still. So we have to win today if we want to have any chance of finishing in the top 4. I personally don't think we're going to finish in the top 4. Even in the summer when, we were signing all these players, we just signed Lenny Yoro, we just signed Ugarte, and Ten Hag was the manager. I still didn't think we were going to get top 4 then, so I'm not going to change my stance now. I didn't think we were going to be 13th, but I just didn't see us getting top 4. I just thought that we still had a lot of growing to do as a team. I think we still needed to get rid of a lot of players. We still needed to, and that's the same now. We've still got so many players in this squad that shouldn't be here anymore, and that's going to take 2-3 years maybe to sort out. But back into relation to today's game. So this story broke late last night. So this is coming out from Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News. Now, I know obviously a lot of the Man United fan base aren't the biggest fan of this journalist, which is fine. I get it. But he has leaked the lineup for today's game. So he's obviously got this from a source close to Manchester United, most likely a player. Of course, he doesn't say which player it is because he's not allowed to do that, or he doesn't want to give away his sources. But he says the Manchester United lineup was already leaked this evening. So this is the lineup apparently. So the lineup for today's game. This is coming from Samuel Luckhurst. He's saying that it's been leaked to him from somebody at the club. Obviously, it will be a player. So the lineup is apparently Onana, Maguire, De Ligt, Martinez. So you've got those as the back three. Then you've got Mazraoui, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, Dalot, Mason Mount, Ahmad, and Højlund. I don't mind that. I mean, maybe Lenny Yoro over Maguire, but at the same time, I can understand why Maguire's starting. Maguire's physical, Haaland's physical. Lenny Yoro's not that physical yet, and maybe he would get bullied by Haaland. I don't know. But I mean, I'm excited to see Mason Mount play in that central attacking midfield role again. I thought he was really good the other night in the Europa League. Ahmad, I think, has been really good so far this season. I think Højlund's been decent the last couple of games. Dalot, I'm still not very sure about, but there isn't really any other options, so you can't really argue with that. Bruno Fernandes obviously would then play in the deeper role, so he'll be like a number 6 alongside Manuel Ugarte. That will either work and will do really well, or it will be awful. If our midfield will either suffer or it's a big risk, I think, putting Bruno in that position because he's not that great defensively. He's not bad, but he's not amazing. So it could go either way. Either he dictates the game and we win comfortably, or our midfield gets completely ran through and we get battered. So that's maybe a bit of a risk, putting Bruno in the midfield alongside Ugarte. Mazraoui, got no problems with. Martinez, De Ligt, obviously no problems with that. Onana, again, we don't really have any other options. I know Altay Bayinder's on the bench, but from what I've seen of Altay Bayinder, I don't think he's as good as some people seem to think. He's not that great. But we'll be talking about a goalkeeper in a minute, actually, to be fair. But generally, I'm pretty happy with that lineup. Obviously, the biggest concern is that the lineup was leaked like 24 hours before the game, obviously from a player, because the players usually find out like the day before the game. And usually the lineup gets leaked maybe 2 hours before kickoff. Man United obviously announced the lineup about an hour before kickoff, but somebody from the club or a player usually leaks it a couple of hours before. But it seems like today it's been leaked 24 hours. So just to go through it really quickly again, this is the leaked lineup that's come out via Samuel Luckhurst at the Manchester Evening News. Obviously, it would have come from a player. He obviously isn't willing to make the source public, but yeah, he wouldn't put this out if he didn't think it was believable. So he's saying Onana in goal, back three of Maguire, De Ligt, Martinez. Then you've got Mazraoui and Dalot as your two wing-backs. Ugarte and Bruno Fernandes as the two holding midfielders. And then you've got a front three of Ahmad, Mason Mount and Rasmus Højlund. I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm quite excited. Does that change my score prediction? I don't think so. I think I still would go for a draw. I think a draw is probably realistic. I'll go 2-2, I think. But yeah, let me know what your score predictions are. Let me know. 2-2. Would I be happy with it? I would just be okay with it. Obviously, if we were to lose, that would be pretty disappointing. But at the same time, as I said, it is Manchester City and they are one of the best teams in the world. Whether they've won 2 in 10 games, I think is irrelevant because they could just turn it on. And yeah, let's do a little poll actually. Let's do this. So we're going to do, whilst I'm setting up the poll, if everyone could please do me a favour and hit the like button. We've got over 250 people in the room already. Let's try and get to 500 likes. So go and do that right now. Let's do result prediction for the derby today. So the question is going to be simple. It's going to be City win, draw, United win. There you go. So you can get involved in that if you want to. Obviously, I can't do score predictions in the poll, so it's just a simple one. City win, draw, or United win. Let me know what you think. Somebody in the chat says, do you think Ruben Amorim will be successful at Manchester United? That's the $1 million question, isn't it? I mean, I can't really answer that as a yes or no question, to be honest. But I'll try and answer it really quickly for you. So the question that's been posed to me by someone in the chat is, do I think Ruben Amorim will be successful at Manchester United? Now, if Ruben Amorim has the ability to get rid of the deadwood, to get rid of the players who are surplus to requirements, to clear out the squad and bring in his own players, I think he has a chance of being successful, yeah. I think if a lot of these players remain at the club, I don't think he'll be successful, to be honest. I just don't. I can't see it. I don't think any manager would succeed with these set of players. They've got poor mentality. I know it's a game day. I'm not trying to be negative. Someone's asked for my opinion, so I'm giving it. But in short, can Ruben Amorim succeed at Manchester United? Yes, of course he can. But I think he has to gut this squad. You know, he has to get rid of probably, I would say, 60-70% of the players. I mean, if you go through the team, right, from back to front, Onana, massive question marks around him at the moment. Mazraoui, I would keep. De Ligt, I would keep. Martinez, I would keep. Malacia, back up. Not good enough to start, I don't think, every week. Casemiro, definitely sell. Bruno's 50-50. I would probably keep him unless you get a massive offer for him. Dalot, again, I think he's maybe backup level. Ahmad, I think he's a starter. Rashford, sell 100%. Xerxes, I would say, is a backup. And then you go through the subs. Højlund, I would say, yeah, good. Maybe a squad player. Could also obviously start as well. Mason Mount, I think, is a squad player. Anthony, sell. Ugarte, start. Garnacho, squad player. Mainu, start. Toby Collier, squad player. Lindelof, sell. Eriksen, sell. Maguire, sell. Lenny Yoro, starter. So if you go through that really quickly, right, out of the whole team of about 25 players, I would say we've probably only got maybe 5 or 6 who are good enough to be starters. That would probably be Ahmad, Ugarte, Mazraoui, Højlund, and then maybe De Ligt and Martinez. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we need another centre-back, you know? Well, we do need another centre-back because obviously Lindelof and Maguire are going to leave. But you've got to remember, right, in the summer, quite a few players' contracts are expiring. So Lindelof's deal's expiring, Eriksen's deal's expiring, Tom Heaton's deal's expiring, and there is somebody else I've forgotten. So Eriksen, Lindelof, Maguire, those 3 will go. You know, and if you look at that alone, Eriksen's on 150k a week, Maguire's on 200k a week, Lindelof's on about 120k a week. So just those 3 players alone earn about £500,000 a week at Manchester United. So if you clear that, it's about £30 million a season you're saving in wages. You know, obviously we won't get a transfer fee for them, but it will help with our financial fair play situation. And if you were then able to sell, say, a Casemiro, an Anthony, I mean, if you were able to sell a Rashford as well, that would be really, really good. You know, say what, 30 million for Rashford, 10 million for Casemiro, 20 million for Anthony. I mean, that's 60 million there alone. Obviously, we get the money for Jadon Sancho next summer as well, which is like 20 million, I think, because obviously he's on loan with an obligation to buy next summer. So already from those 4 players, you know, 20 million from Sancho, 30 million from Rashford, 10 million for Casemiro, and who was the other one? There was someone else I've forgotten. Anthony, maybe 20 million. That could be potentially, 70, 80 million just on those 4 players. And, you know, and if you were then to clear out more players further, maybe Real Madrid do come in for Dalot and offer us 40, 50 million, you know, that would be probably a good thing to do. Yeah, so there's still a lot of work that he needs to do. In short, can he succeed? Yes, I think he has all of the tools in his locker, in his own personal locker. You know, he has that ability, Ruben Amorim. He's got the tactical knowledge. He's got the experience. I think he's a quality manager, but it all just depends on what Ineos decide to do. If they say that Marcus Rashford and, I don't know, say they say Marcus Rashford isn't being sold, no way, and they say, oh, we're going to give him Maguire a new contract and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, then yeah, I don't think he'll succeed, to be honest, because it would just be so difficult for him. But yeah, that was a bit of a long-winded answer, and I know some people would have just wanted a yes or no to that, but I don't think a yes or no would have been fair. Ruben Amorim has my full backing, and he will. I'm not gonna throw another manager under the bus. It's not gonna happen. You know, it will not happen. So yeah, that's my take on that. But obviously, you can let me know. Do you think that Ruben Amorim will succeed at Manchester United? I mean, it's a bit of a bit of a big question for a game day, but I guess, it's fine. That's the point of this channel, isn't it? To have hard conversations. We've got a super chat coming in from Carl Took. Thank you for your support, my friend. And he says, why hasn't Garnacho been taught to look up and pass? I mean, that's a great question. Great question. I find myself asking the same thing every single time I watch Manchester United. Why do these players not know how to pass the ball? I mean, Ahmad, absolutely amazing at it. I love that about Ahmad. I love the fact that he wants to bring others into the game. I love the fact that he would rather pass it to someone else to create a goal than score himself. And I think that's why Amad Diallo has become such a fan favourite so quickly, because he's not selfish. He's a team player, and that's what we need in this Manchester United team. We've got too many selfish players who think they're better than they are, trying to be the next big superstar. And as much as I like Garnacho, he is one of them. I'm sorry, he is. You can't disagree with that. He's desperate to become the next Cristiano Ronaldo, isn't he? He's desperate to become a superstar. Will he make it as a superstar? I'm not sure. I mean, I could see him going to like a Real Madrid or an Atletico Madrid or one of the top Spanish teams and doing well in the future. But I don't think he's on the same trajectory as like a Ronaldo, personally. But maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, thank you for your super chat, mate. It's a great question. And, why they're not teaching him to pass the ball? I'm sure they are. Maybe he just doesn't want to. We saw Rene Hark come out a couple of days ago. So obviously Rene Hark was the assistant manager under Ten Hag. And Rene Hark was asked about the team. And Rene Hark said that some of the players didn't want to change their game. And that some of the players said that they were effectively refusing to do what Erik Ten Hag and Rene Hark and Ruud van Nistelrooy were telling them. They were saying, you know what, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm not going to change my game. And we don't know whether that's Garnacho, but it might be, and the evidence would almost say that it would be players. If someone just keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again, it doesn't work, i.e. Anthony cutting in on his left foot and skying it. Surely the coaches are saying, Anthony, when you're on that wing, why don't you cross the ball? Or why don't you pass the ball? Against Victoria Pilsen, Anthony must have hit the ball over the bar like 3 or 4 times. He cuts in on his left foot. It's so predictable and he skies it. Surely the managers are saying to him, don't do that anymore. But maybe he's just like, oh no, that's what I'm, that's part of my game. So I don't know. It's a good question though. Right, let's move on to the final story I've got for you today, and that is on the new goalkeeper. Actually, no, we've got a couple of other stories, so I'll rattle through them really, really quickly. So the first story is coming in from Florian Plettenberg, obviously the German Sky Sports news journalist. He's reporting that apparently Manchester United are trying to sell Christian Eriksen in the January transfer window. Obviously, remember, Eriksen's contract expires in the summer, so we're trying to get some money for him now, otherwise we'll get nothing. The other story we've got for you here is that apparently Manchester United are set to activate their buyback clause for Alvaro Fernandez from Benfica, 20 million euros, which is about 16 million pounds. I would back that. I think that would be a great bit of business. I think he'd be really, really good in that left wing back position. The next story is that apparently Manchester City are trying to sign Paul Pogba as a free agent. Obviously, Pogba is without a club after being let go by Juventus. And the story coming out this morning is that apparently Manchester City are trying to sign him as a free agent. I mean, that would be pretty mad, wouldn't it? Someone who's come through the youth academy, supposedly loves Manchester United, and then goes and joins Manchester City after he's already left us for free twice, after us paying big money for him. But that's what football's like. Footballers are mercenaries these days. They don't care about, who they played for in the past. They don't care about their roots. A lot of them. Some of them do, but I think most football players, it's just about money, isn't it? To be fair. And then the next story we've got is on the goalkeeper situation. So let's have a little look where that one is. Goalkeeper. Where is it? There it is. So this is coming in from a couple of different journalists around Europe, and they're reporting that apparently Manchester United are trying to sign Brazilian and Botafogo goalkeeper John Victor. It looks like Altay Bayindir wants to leave Manchester United. I mean, I can't blame him. He was the Turkish national team goalkeeper. He was starting every week for Fenerbahce, and he's come to Manchester United, and I think he played once against Newport, and that was in last season, like a year ago. He's been dropped by the Turkish national team. It's not looking particularly good for him. So, yeah, I have no issue with Altay Bayindir wanting to go. In relation to this other goalkeeper, he currently plays in Serie A. I don't know much about him, to be honest. John Victor. If anybody knows much about him, let me know in the chat. 28 years of age, Brazilian international. He's never been capped by Brazil, though, to be fair. I don't think it's much really to get excited about, to be honest. And just to be very clear, this would be a backup to Andre Onana. So he would probably join Manchester United and you'd probably never see him play, or you might see him once. So it's kind of a pointless signing. But, if Altay Bayindir wants to go, then yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Obviously, I will be live after the Manchester derby today. Hopefully, we've got a positive match reaction. Hopefully, we go and beat them 4-0 and everyone's sat here, singing and chanting. Hopefully, we don't get beaten today because I can't deal with the mood. The mood is so low when we get beaten in these types of games. So it's a 4:30 kickoff. I will probably be live at about 6:30 p.m. So make sure you join me for that. Have a lovely Sunday, everybody. Go and enjoy yourselves. Go out for a nice walk. Do something before the game because it might... You know what it's like with Man United. We're probably going to have our weekend ruined at about 4:30 p.m. UK time today. So go and do something nice. And I will speak to you all. I'll be live at about 6:30, straight after the game. Come and join me and we can all talk about it as a community. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave. Make sure you subscribe as well. We are on the road to 40,000 subscribers as well. So go and do that now if you haven't already. We're trying to hit that by the end of 2024. So if you haven't subscribed already, I've just dropped a link in the chat. Go and do that right now. Have a great day. Speak to you all later. Bye for now.